what do horses tell us? Well, they tell us a lot. They don't tell us enough, but they tell us a lot. You know, they can't talk to us verbally, but in conjunction with our trainers, we're always on the lookout for what they're telling us. So what does that mean? Well, I mean, basically what I'm looking for as the manager is the feedback that we're getting from our trainer. You know, how are our horses eating? You know, how they're acting, you know, how they feel when they come out of the stall in the morning, you know, what the exercise riders are telling the trainers, what the grooms are telling the trainers, you know, what the therapists, you know, we like to think that our trainers are open, and there's all kind of therapies. There's some good ones that we've been utilizing in the last 3 or 4 months that we think have really helped our horses. So what's the therapist telling our trainers about what our horses were like 3 or 4 months ago vis-a-vis what they're looking like now when they're being treated? What's the vet saying? You know, is it really costing a lot of money to maintain our horse? Are we having to treat their joints? Are we having to treat them on and on with you know, respiratory infections? Are they body sore? You know, did they seem happy? Did they seem like they're enjoying themselves? And really, it's good because I don't get to see the horses every day, but I try to get to see them on a regular basis so that, you know, I have the ability to see very quickly, is a horse happy? And is he got that a gleam in his eye? And so what we can do is we can combine what we see on the sheets, what we see on the past performances, with what we're seeing on our vet bills and what we're seeing when we talk to our therapists, with what obviously the most important part, the feedback we're getting from our trainer, and we can kind of put that all together. So that's really what we call it, is what are we hearing from our horses? And that's the magical part of our business, because when everything comes together and, you know, we're all working to make that horse most comfortable, we're trying to get him as fit as we can, and we're trying to get him to the wire first. So all those things come into play. I'd like to think also that our institutional knowledge comes into play. We know that fillies are different than colts. So you might not be very aggressive with a type of filly, you know, a filly that weighs like 925 pounds. Well, you wouldn't think of, you know, having her go through a very hard race and then come back in 2 weeks. Now, you have a 3-year-old colt who's in September, and he looks like he's doing great, and he's 1,100 pounds, and he runs well, and he looks like he runs hard, but he comes back to the barn and he's kicking the barn down, and he's eating up everything in front of him, and he's training with a lot of enthusiasm. You might bring him back in 2 weeks. Now, you can't keep bringing him back in 2 weeks after 2 weeks, but every once in a while you'll change something up with a horse. So that's really you know, how we take into account what the horse is telling us, and we combine that with what the trainer's telling us, what the vet is telling us, and what everybody else that's on our team is telling us. So that's really the magic of putting all the pieces together and coming up with a good plan for managing these horses.